I did everything. I was one of the first employees. My employee number was number 6. So I was involved in the construction and some of the hiring. I had a bunch of different job titles over the years. I was teaching school at the time, so I filled in and did sports anchoring. I was the first sports anchor. Later did all the promotions, production, in charge of engineering, traffic. I did it all at one time or another.
Frank Coe was instrumental in getting KLAX TV up on the air 40 years ago this week. He and some of the inaugural employees of the station got together to celebrate the milestone. He talks about how things were different back on March 3rd, 1983, the day they signed on.
The news gathering, the E&G equipment was a lot bulkier, a lot heavier, less reliable. You know, nowadays we can do a newscast with an iPhone. But back then we toted a lot of gear and a lot of equipment that was heat sensitive and moisture sensitive, so it's come a long way, the technology.
Coe talks about working with people to set up the station in an age before cell phones.
Everything had to be done kind of in person, you know, so we still had typewriters, for crying out loud, rather than computers. So we worked and worked and worked. It's like guys that go to war together, okay? They become battle buddies and lifelong friends because they've been through an immense challenge that was stressful and almost seemed insurmountable at times.
90-year-old Charlie Tarver was there at the reunion. He was the chief engineer when the station got started. He hired a young electrical engineering graduate to be his assistant to set up the transmitter. The only problem was Daryl Jordan had never seen a transmitter.
They decided I was going to be the transmitter engineer, and my first job was, they handed me a huge manual. It was RCA TTU 55C, and I did what was in the manual and just started assembling the transmitter.
Jordan says the people he worked with made the job worthwhile.
The thing that I remember that made KLAX so unique to me was the people that I worked with. We had several people that had years of experience in broadcast, and you had a lot of us that didn't have any. We learned a lot from them.
On KLAX's inaugural broadcast, one of the stories was flooding in Alexandria that happened a year earlier. Even though KLAX wasn't on the air yet when the flooding hit, their news crew covered the event in preparation for their first broadcast. Coe says the experiences shared from the early days of KLAX formed a tight bond with this group of people.
We have remained friends to this day, and they're like family. You know, so we're all very close.
Joel Massey, ABC 31 News that works for you.